on the mic, bring the facts. Aaron in the ring, no turning back. Kobe got the numbers clean and clear. Experts in the mortgage space right here. Housing issues, yeah, we dig deep. Every word weigh when the stakes don't sleep. Credit war, you can feel that charge. Every point hit hard, every stance large. Capital Hill, that pressure stay high. Consolidation makes the small ones fight. Servicing trails, every detail counts. Say your claim, then we write it out. No surrender.
Hey.
Well, episode 12, The Dirty Dozen.
Best day of the week.
This is very exciting. It is daytime, but you would think it was nighttime because we're all wearing black.
Nope.
Although I'm actually wearing blue. Do you guys like my little alligator here?
Little Lacoste thing going on.
Any comment about the new neon sign behind me?
Love it. Love it. And
I guess we're official now.
We are.
We are. I do love it. I want one of those. I want one of those. And yeah, we are all in black. Still mourning the passing of our beloved Senator Lindsey Graham.
Yeah. And not to mention the passing of 450 on the bond, because we've passed it and gone way up. What a shit show that was yesterday. Wow. We should get into the FOMC meeting because I'm trying to figure out, make heads or tails out of what happened as Kevin Warsh stepped forward with no change at all. There were three officials dissented and wanted a hike, not a cut. And I don't know, what did the market expect? I feel like had they raised rates, maybe we wouldn't have had that violent of a reaction, but it was the worst day of the year as the Dow Jones was down considerably, almost 1,200 points, S&P 112, NASDAQ 433. And then, of course, the bond yesterday shot up to 4.7. I mean, it was up 9 ticks. Mortgage rates deteriorated. This is getting really, really tough, folks. I'm not going to lie. It's this war has been awful. It has been one of the worst things that I've ever seen in my lifetime in terms of how quickly things have deteriorated around us. Where do we begin, Aaron? What did you think of Kevin Warsh and what he said and why the reaction?
Yeah, well, initially there really wasn't that bad of a reaction, right? But it was in his press conference that we really saw the market reacting to it. And first, I'm not surprised that the dissenters, specifically at Lori Logan, she was in Texas last week or the week before, and her comments were very much indicative of the fact that she felt we needed to hike. And so not surprised by her being a dissenter at all, was not surprised by WAMEC. And so, I think that shouldn't be a surprise to most people. But, if you really listen to what Warsh was saying in his press conference after the fact, he was really talking about, getting through the noise versus signal in the inflation data, and really saying what is from a shock to the economy versus what are the underlying prices actually doing. And so really kind of talking about separating, hey, the price increases that we're seeing now through the war this time, but what are prices overall doing? So it seemed like he was being not as hawkish on the inflation numbers. At least that's kind of what I saw. And I don't think the market liked that.
Kobe, Warsh said there was a conversation about kind of separating the effects of the war with what's happening in the real economy. That's kind of what Aaron is referencing. He also made a comment that totally jives, and we'll share it in a moment along with some other comments he made, and that is that the market is kind of doing the work of the Fed right now.
Yes.
There's already been a price increase. We're feeling it in our rate sheet. So what more is there for them to do at this exact time?
Yeah, and it was the typical hawks that dissented. It was Hammock and Kashkari and Logan that signaled that they wanted a hike, and the market thinks there's an 80% chance, or almost an 80% chance, there will be one in September. But I mean, it's in line with what Warsh talked about when he was testifying in front of the Senate, and he talked about not having these extremes and these knee-jerk reactions. So I think that position of let the market do its work, that's also in line with why he doesn't want to do dot plots and projections and say little. And if you think about the market reaction, you had that graphic up, the percentages in terms of what it was down. I mean, they were all like in line, about 1.5%, 2%. not horrible numbers, but basically voicing its displeasure where what it thinks the Fed did based on the facts on the ground. But I think if you're Kevin Warsh and you're trying to separate the underlying foundation of the economy from the war is essentially a temporary thing. It doesn't have legs to go 7, 10, 12 years. We don't have boots on the ground. There's no ground invasion talked about. The two sides have looked for exits multiple times. So it's not like this is a war that's never going to end. It's just, it just seems that way because of how many times it already has ended. So I think what Warsh did today was responsible. I think the market probably doesn't like the fact that he's not giving forward projections. And I think that part of the displeasure is around that. But again, I said on the last episode or 2 episodes ago that I was kind of warming to the way he was doing things. And he to me showed a steady Eddie hand today that I applaud. I think he did a good job. And if we have a rate hike in September, we'll see. September's a long time from now, just based on all the things that could happen.
Oh, I mean, so much can happen.
Yeah.
Right. But
we already hit 4.7. We already hit 4.7 earlier this week. So, we're below that number now. So I don't think the reaction has been all that bad.
I think, the one thing though that I would, in my nerdy little circles, would love to talk through is he went through the shocks of the system and trying to separate shocks versus actual prices. But it was COVID, it was supply chain, it was AI CapEx spending, it was tariffs, it was wars. I mean, the thing, if you take a step back, we've been going through one solid shock after another for the last 6 years. And so to me, I do think that I get what he's saying, but I also kind of want, to me, that's just something that at a certain point when you're just in a constant shock, you can't completely separate them.
Yeah, let's just take a quick listen to him earlier.
It's are higher today than they were 42 days ago. Markets have made decisions because we step back in part from trying to influence those. Market judgments have moved up on what nominal rates are across the Treasury curve. That doesn't mean we take them as by dictation, but we're observing them. So I think it's a mischaracterization to say that markets haven't reacted because we didn't move today. Markets are reacting in real time.
And I love that.
Is that how slow he really talks? Did you play that at a lower speed or?
No, he's very methodical in how he talks.
Very measured.
Very
so
measured.
Slow.
He cuts twice. He measures twice. He cuts once.
Well, and whoever cuts his hair.
You're like that. You're like that, Kobe, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're very detailed. You're very detailed. Although when it comes to your new setting, you're not that detailed yet. Where is Elizabeth with the enforcements here? We thought I brought a new sign today, no surrender. Yeah. You're just bringing a shadow.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is an indictment on Elizabeth and the fact that she hasn't yet shown up to set up my office and to.
What's going on? Are you guys going? Are you going through tough times? Is there something?
No, not at all. Just logistics. She spent a good 2 weekends helping me move and helping me pack up. She did yeoman's work. I mean, just significant other of the century award she won for all of that.
Oh wow! Oh, I love.
Does that come with a trophy or?
Yeah, it's a trophy.
Or
it's a trophy, Aaron. Which will be proudly displayed probably behind here because she'll appreciate it that much. She'll want to, give it right back to me.
If you were any closer to the wall, I feel like your head would be banging up against it right now. Can you touch the wall? Can you touch the wall?
I mean, of course.
Will you touch the wall?
Will you kiss the wall?
I can touch the wall.
Yeah. Will you kiss the wall? When you were a kid, did they ever? They did this to me, by the way. Did you ever have a teacher draw a circle on a chalkboard or on a wall and have you stick your nose in it?
I had a teacher in 5th grade that would put kids in the corner and he would tell them, you see that nail in the wall? Watch it. And if it moves, tell me. And he would just leave them back there for the longest time.
What? You guys are weirdo. Greg,
so
I think
that's what happened to you.
To reconsider that.
Aaron, you're no saint. We talked to Mom. Don't forget. We know Jan. Okay.
We do. We know about the party. We know about the party. No, Elizabeth will be back. She's got some stuff she's dealing with right now. She's got some and I've got logistical stuff.
We love you, Elizabeth. We love you, Elizabeth.
You're a saint, lady.
And it's going to look great behind me.
You make Kobe look great. I met Elizabeth. Aaron, have you met Elizabeth?
Of course, she's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
we were at the game. We were at the Yankee game together.
That's right.
My memory is just trash. I bet Anthony Fauci wishes his memory was trash because he got absolutely lit up yesterday. Let's have some fun. First of all, So he's got this diary. I don't know who the hell got a hold of it and why.
Rand.
But,
It was Rand.
This looks like my diary.
These are some of the things that Fauci said. This was, revealed days before he testified in front of the Senate yesterday. The press is hot and heavy about me. I am the most famous person in the world. What a freak. One person said that Tyra Banks was sexy, but that I was even more sexy than she was.
Totally agree.
CNN's Jake Tapper even invited Fauci over for dinner during lockdowns. Fauci confessed he knew COVID wasn't as deadly as he claimed it was. That last line is like, whoa, stop the press. I mean, This guy, what the hell is going on here?
I thought it was a lab leak.
I'm going to be honest with you. I was a huge fan during COVID. He was the guy I leaned on. But what happened?
The worst part,
and a liar.
The worst part of all that is I had to read that while I was getting my 12th COVID booster. And I'm like, I thought this guy was for real. He told me to keep 6 feet away, flatten the curve. I mean, look, no one has ever buried themselves worse than this guy with that diary that he kept.
Yeah.
I just,
who found it? Where did they discover this?
Well, it was Rand Paul. So government officials do this. They keep diaries so that they can write their memoirs. And so Rand Paul is the one that got access to all of this through the subpoena process, I guess. And he leaked it all. And like, the thing is once those come out ahead of his testimony, he has two choices. He perjures himself or he pleads the fifth. I mean, like, because perjuring himself is a whole new crime that he was not pardoned for. That's a whole new crime. But now there's even questions on whether he could have even pled the fifth. And that just put him in a real bad position. And he had a very bad day today.
Yeah, my understanding is you can't plead the fifth if you've been pardoned.
Yesterday he had a bad day.
Sorry. You know what? I didn't sleep well last night. It feels like one long day to me.
The days just run together, don't they?
Seriously.
For you?
Yeah,
amazing. Kobe, go ahead.
It's a big day. My understanding was you cannot plead the fifth if you have been pardoned. But, look, the damage is done. Because what good is there for us to go further with this? He's embarrassed himself. He's had a bigger downfall now than probably Rudy Giuliani. Like, what do you want? Do you want him in prison? Like, what's that going to do? But why?
Yes.
Why?
Aaron
Aaron
contends that he killed millions. Aaron contends that he killed millions of people.
I contend that prison for Fauci is the moderate position. This man lied to us about COVID after funding gain of function research, lying about it, lying about the origins, lying how bad it was. He specifically drove policies that took our children out of schools, masked them up, forced a vaccine on people, and then made people lose their jobs if they wouldn't, shut down our economy, that made businesses go completely out of business. We had to watch our loved ones die on Zoom. We were not able to be in hospitals with our loved ones. Careers were ended because they chose to stand up to the COVID regime. And the fact that now he had a really bad day, unless something actually happens to this man and he has to reckon for what he did to our economy, to our society, to help further government tyranny. What is it all for? It was all showmanship. He has got to be locked up.
What's the crime?
Well, lying about, first of all, he knew where it came from. So he funded this gain of function research, which was why COVID was even a thing. Then he tried to push the fact that it was some sort of bat market deal. He lied to Congress multiple times. So the crime should be lying to Congress, but I'd settle for mass murder.
But he's been pardoned. So anything he said in front of Congress, I'm guessing he's good.
Which is why he had to plead the fifth today 111 times.
It was yesterday, by the way.
Yesterday.
Anyway, yeah.
Sorry. See, I told you, I'm fired up about this. I can't even think.
I know. It's unbelievable.
Look, I'll give you my take. I'll give you my take on this. This guy was put in a pretty bad position to have to. Well, hold on. I let you rant. I
apologize.
That's okay. You're good. I'm just
fired up.
I'm just saying this guy was put in charge of a mess from day one. I think if I'm just going back to what his actions were and the guidance he gave and the public persona around it and the way that he tried to influence policy around it, there was a lot going on that was more than just him. But I do think that what he was doing for the most part was responding to information that was coming in real time. In retrospect, because knowing what we know now, a lot of it looks terrible because it just doesn't fit. The pieces don't fit. But he was dealing with information coming in real time, and he was dealing with a lot of pressure from both sides. He was dealing with the right telling him to open things up. He was dealing with the left telling him to close things down. He was dealing with governors in 50 states who each had their own agenda. I think he did himself a massive disservice with the ego stuff and directing some federal resources to try to get more fame for himself. But look, I don't see where this guy is a mass murderer or some kind of genius villain criminal that we need to put locked up.
The thing about it is I'm kind of torn. Like, he was a hero to me, but seeing what was going on behind the scenes and how he was just gobbling up the headlines head to toe. Obviously this guy is a sick guy. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, who the hell thinks like that in the middle of what we were going through? That everything's on the table, basically, after seeing what this freak show was thinking as people were dying all over the place. And I was wearing 5 masks and wiping off every grocery I had, 3 freezers in my garage. I mean, totally bugged out. And I was listening to him.
Yeah, well, and the thing is I understand and I can appreciate where Kobe is trying to come to his defense, but the emails, the diary proves that he was receiving real-time data about that it was not nearly as bad as what he said it was, and he ignored it, he obfuscated it, he hid it, right? He actively engaged in a cover-up of the origins of where it was, and so I'm sorry, but I don't think he was acting on real data. Oh, I guess I
No, I do. Kobe he's very sad right now.
But yesterday was just, watching all of those clips from, as they were just coming in through my Twitter feed, right? At first it was super amusing because you're seeing him get yelled at by Josh Hawley and this and that. It was really amusing yesterday to watch it first. But then when you think about Kobe, he literally was getting information, the diaries proved that he was getting information that he was obfuscating, then going out and saying the complete opposite. And so it's hard to defend that.
Let's play this interaction between him and Holly yesterday. It's pretty funny.
Were put in place.
I know you're shocked, Aaron, that I played the wrong soundbite. That's par for the course. I have to do that at least once during every show. So now let me hit the right.
It's not an episode under.
Correct.
Those policies.
Oh my God, what is going on here? I've never done it twice. Hold on.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege. You know that. Your lawyers sitting behind you now shifting nervously in their chairs. They know it. This isn't about the Constitution. This isn't about the law. This is about contempt. Contempt for this body and contempt for the American people. But I think I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to answer questions. It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic, you got rich, didn't you? You got rich. While people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich. And not only were you doing that, you were using federal employees with taxpayer money to apply for and solicit cash prizes for you personally. Cash prizes totaling over $1 million. You did all of that during the pandemic, didn't you? That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline.
All right, they can put him in jail. I'm sold.
Well, first of all, when you're quoting Brown versus Walker, it's serious.
Well, I'm just wondering why the attorney was squirming. Do they also have hemorrhoids? The attorney, why is the attorney
entire
squirming?
mortgage industry got rich during COVID. So what's his problem?
Yeah, listen, this just affected society so bad. It's a big deal, and he really does need to suffer consequences.
Jail. You think he should be put to death, Aaron?
I think he should be put away for the rest of his life.
Give new meaning. You drop the soap, you get a new kind of Fauci ouchie.
Can we end on that?
A Fauci ouchie? You think he's got it like that? You
Isn't
think
what
that
they
little
call
man? Do you think that little man can deliver
ain't out to
a
no
Fauci
one.
ouchie,
I think he's.
or is it
gonna-
a Fauci pokey?
I think he would get a Fauci out. Yeah. I don't think he's pitching in prison.
Maybe he'll do the hokey pokey. Aaron,
There'll be plenty of jabs.
oh gosh, private listings. Leo Perea, CEO of EXP, he had an op-ed of sorts in Inman, and he has highlighted what seems like a super legitimate concern about appraisals and properties that are not hitting the MLS and how it may affect every chain in the ecosystem. This is not his voice, by the way. They did one of these audiobook kinds of things. Clearly, it's not his voice. But let's hear what Leo had to say in the voice of someone from Inman.
A marketplace that lets sellers hide inventory in private networks isn't consumer choice. It's consumer cost. And it falls hardest on the buyers who already have the least access. First-time buyers and buyers without an insider's Rolodex. But there's a question in this debate that hasn't gotten nearly enough attention. And it cuts to the heart of consumer fairness. Whether the numbers underneath every mortgage in America are still going to add up. What this could do to every mortgage in America. Home lending in this country runs on comps. When an appraiser values a house for a loan, the rule is simple. At least 3 settled comparable sales, pulled overwhelmingly from the MLS. That agreement is the plumbing of the entire U.S. mortgage system. It's why an appraiser in Reston, Virginia, can trust a comp as much as one in Sacramento, California. It's the same plumbing underneath more than $13 trillion in outstanding U.S. mortgage debt, every dollar of it underwritten on the assumption that the comps behind it are real, complete, and current. That system only works when virtually every sale flows into the same shared pool. Increasingly, it doesn't. A growing share of transactions now move through private, closed marketing arrangements before, or instead of, ever reaching the open market. Some of those sales never make it into the shared system at all. Others show up late or missing the very fields, price history, days on market, that tell an appraiser whether a price reflects the real market or a fluke.
So it would seem like, Kobe, and I know where you're going because we talked in pre-production here. You don't buy all of that.
No.
And I want to hear it because I'm trying to figure out, and I've been bothered by this since Compass did what they did and many followed suit, how it's an advantage for a buyer. Or I should maybe say what a big disadvantage it is for a buyer. I would want to know days on market. I would want to know the challenges that the properties had relative to others. To me, what Leo's saying makes a lot of sense, and I think it's a big problem.
Well, there's a few things here to unpack. One, in regards to the private listing network, what we're really talking about is the choice that a seller has, or the ability for the seller to make a choice about how his property comes to market.
His or hers. Just
his or hers. I'm sorry.
Yes. Okay, just making sure.
He's or she's.
Yes.
For example, Compass has what they call their 3-phase marketing platform, which is private exclusive to coming soon to then on the open market. The reality is that over 90%, and I think it's something like maybe even close to 95% of properties that start in either the coming soon or the private exclusive, whatever brokerage you are that or MLS that has that ability to do it, most of those do come to the open market. They come to the open market pretty quickly. And then about 85% of those do get sold from 2 different brokerages. In other words, the brokerage is not double ending. So this really comes down to what seller choice is and how their property is marketed. And there is no data about how a property that's not yet on the market, either because its address is not there or the price is not there, or maybe both, how that influences comps and how it may disrupt the mortgage business. I think that's some kind of false flag argument that says that there's an impact to mortgage that really isn't. Days on market, if you want to talk about days on market, that's something that the real estate world took on as a mantra as a negotiating ploy. If a property is on the market for X many days, then it somehow means that a potential buyer can use that to their advantage. It doesn't really reflect reality of what's going on with the price. There are a lot of reasons why homes stay on the market for multiple days. The house I bought in 2014 in Illinois, the house was on the market because the old lady that owned it didn't want to sell because she had raised her family there, and she was rejecting offer after offer after offer. And we finally came and made an offer with a letter of the heart that we wanted to raise our child there, and she sold it to us. And it had been on the market 150 days at that point.
That's an outlier. That's an outlier.
What it means is that days on market means a lot of different things. And it could mean that. It could mean that somebody prices it too high and then comes back down to earth. Selling a home is an emotional thing. And even though you have agents that list most homes in this country, even the FSBOs, most of those come to market, it's still an emotional thing. Why shouldn't sellers be allowed to have a choice in how their property is marketed? We already do that. In places like Austin, about 20% of homes start off on the private listing network before they ever come to market. Why? Because a lot of homeowners in Austin don't want their homes ever to reach the public market, because appraisers in that area can use that data to reset property taxes.
Kobe, let me redirect you to the appraisal point, because I know Aaron has a lot to say about it, but I want to just make sure that you touch on what Leo was saying about values and how this could compromise the integrity of loans.
Yeah, I don't see how that's possible, because again, most of the private listing networks listings come to the general market, over 90% of them. So if anything, the reason that I'm in support of private listings is because it actually can increase the amount of inventory that comes to market. Imagine if you can put your home on the market and get a free look without actually listing it, without actually putting your address out there or the price. You can sort of you can have this marketplace where every home is theoretically for sale. And putting your home on the market can actually give you an indication of what it might sell for if you bought it. That could really solve a lot of inventory issues in a lot of markets.
You don't buy fundamental problem.
Nobody that has talked about how this is a potential appraisal problem has walked us through how that actually works and how it actually becomes a problem. They've just said
I think his argument is that it's emerging. It's a lot of times you don't see.
That's a theory. That's a theory, not an argument.
All right, Aaron.
So let me walk you through it. As an underwriter, right, I assess risk, and one of the biggest parts of my loan is the collateral, what I can get for it, what it would look like if I have to foreclose on that property, right? And so, understanding specific to the days on market, tells me, okay, what does it look like if I'm going to have to sell this house in this market, right? So it's a piece of data that goes into my risk analysis when I am underwriting this property, right? So yeah, you gave a great anecdote, and maybe that one anecdotal comp would show up on my appraisal as having 360 days on market. But then if I'm looking, hey, what's the average or median days on market in this general area? Is it 30 days? Is it 90 days? Is it 70 days? What is it? That tells me something. If that's one of the things we're looking at, like in DSCR loans, right? These homes are if they're in a market where the homes are going to be on the market much longer, maybe then you're going to be more likely to have price cuts. Is it going to be harder if I have to foreclose on this property, if I'm at a super high LTV, to have to dispose of this property? So it's a piece of data that goes into helping me understand the collateral that is underlying my loan. And so if we have these various markets where I don't know if I'm getting the full picture, because I'm only getting half of the market sales, when then there's 50% of the market that goes into how an appraiser is deriving their value or their opinion of value on that property. And so there's not enough data, or not as much data, that is going into telling me the value and the market conditions of this collateral that I am lending on. And so that, I think, is where they're coming from. And I don't disagree with them. To me, I worked in Austin for the entirety of COVID and even before. So I fully well understand what the Austin market is and what it was. And when you are missing these data points, you don't always get the best view of the market. Now, Kobe, to your point, these appraisals or, these listings will eventually come on, but you're going to miss part of the marketing period. But the take I have on this is a little bit different than the take that Greg presented, because honestly, I am fully in favor of private listings. I don't think that anybody should tell me as a private property owner how to market my home. And the basis of private property rights and what I do with my property is literally one of the most fundamental things of being an American. And so I don't think people should be out there telling me what to do. But what I do think it's saying is that, to your point, this is an emerging issue. And I think this is a perfect example of where the market is going to need to catch up, or the industry and our practices are going to have to catch up to where the market is going. We're going to need to adapt, and we're going to need to figure out how else can we get this data that helps give me a reliable indicator of value and of what the market conditions are that on this collateral that I'm lending on.
Yeah.
Let me push back on you there, Aaron, because if you're an underwriter and you know that 90+% of these properties are going to hit the market, and you also know that closed comps are more valuable than active comps anyway, in terms of telling you what a market's really doing, you still have the closed comps. You got 90% of these listings coming to market. Austin, which you worked in, already has 20% that are in the private listing network. And there's no issue evaluating comps there. There's no broken real estate system there.
You've never had to do ROVs once you get an appraisal done.
Fair enough. But what I'm saying is, are you really faced with some sort of impending issue coming that we're going to face because the private listing network is now a hot topic versus the fact that it's already been around forever in multiple markets, and some of them as robust as Austin, where it's 20% of all listings that come on start as exclusive listings or pocket listings. Come on. I just don't see this as an issue. What I do see is Leo Perea and James Dwiggins, EXP and Next Home fighting back against Compass, and the fact that they keep making acquisitions and now have 340,000 some agents, and they're worried about them controlling the market and controlling the deals, and they're worried about agents in markets saying, hey, I should just pack up and move over to Compass because they've got all these private listing, private exclusives and coming soons, and they're controlling a lot of the listings in our area. That's what they're really fighting against under the guise of, this isn't fair for buyers. It's not fair for the market. And oh, by the way, it's going to present this massive problem for the mortgage industry.
I don't know how you can say it's fair to buyers to not have full visibility on the market conditions. It's way too big of a purchase.
Buyers do have full visibility.
No,
they don't not have full visibility
because they don't have visibility into things like days on the market in some instances.
I contend that days on market is overused.
And price cuts. No, it isn't. I mean, how many houses have you bought? It's such a valuable tool.
It's not.
Yeah, so I mean, it's an invaluable tool. I mean, just because, Aaron, you talk about property rights, I get that, but sometimes you put systems in place which just work. Okay, so property rights, the average loan now is what? Average purchase is 400,000 and change. Like this. We saw what happens when the housing market has issues with collateral, and it's so fragile it can collapse a global economy, and so. I don't want to get into a situation where all of a sudden you have people buying houses that they can't afford, or houses that shouldn't be as expensive as they are. They're basically getting duped and misled because there isn't the full visibility on how many days it's been on the market and the price cuts and things of that nature. So that's
a pretty long spanning bridge to go from days on market to not, if you don't have visibility on days on market, that somehow goes to fraud and getting duped.
But like just the practicality of it, though, honestly, it makes it a bit of a logistical nightmare as well, right? So again, in Austin, with all of these private listings, you get your appraisal in and it doesn't hit your sales price because the market data out there doesn't support it. Then you get hit with the realtor who wants all of these off list or private list networks come back and says, what, there's all these comps, and now you've got to go back and look at all of these other sales, force the appraiser to go back and re-render a value of opinion based on all of this private data. And so you also have, appraiser coercion issues. You have all of that. So there are other also practical issues that this causes in lending as well.
You're taking the power out of the hands of the buyer. That's the problem I have with it, Kobe.
That's the argument that the Leos of the world make. Yeah,
I'm not talking about. I mean, this is not about Leo. This is my argument.
It doesn't take power away from the buyer. These are listings that the seller has made a decision about how they want to market the property. When the seller is ready, they come to market. The buyer has visibility into them. So again, it's 90% of them hit the open market, and even if they don't hit the MLS and they're still private exclusives, they're still being marketed. They're just being marketed within that brokerage's website. So it's not like the buyers don't see them. I mean, that part I simply just don't agree with.
So there are two different issues here that we're talking about, and we can move on. But one is the appraisal issue and the collateral, and are we setting ourselves up for something catastrophic? The other one is the private listings, and I think people are pretty much divided on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the real estate world is on fire over this thing.
The appraisal thing does need to be addressed.
Well, and Aaron, you're part of the Mortgage Bankers Association. You're on ResBog. Is this something that you guys have talked about, or you think should be talked about?
This is definitely, as you said, this is an emerging issue, so it has not come across the conversations I've had there yet. No.
Maybe you could tee it up and we can report back as to, what the level of concern is.
See if there's any interest there. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. LO recruiting. It is, talk about on fire. We are in what I think is the most interesting recruiting time I've ever been a part of. I've been in the industry for 29, 30 years, and we're at a real inflection point right now. I know that word gets used loosely, but imagine you're a loan officer who has been struggling to pull the numbers you used to pull for 4 or 5 years and all the head fakes. And yet here we are, another head fake. And so the spring market is over. You thought you were getting rates in the sub 6s. Now all of a sudden you're looking at 7%. Pipelines are drying up, and the recruiters know it. And they are in a complete frenzy right now. I'm seeing it. We actually lost a couple of people. We're in the process of gaining a bunch of people. And I think this is just the beginning. I think this is going to be there's going to be a real sea change in mortgage when it comes to consolidation. And this is the moment. This is that potential apocalyptic moment that we've been talking about where a bunch of people roll up. I know it's been in bits and pieces, but I'm telling you, this is the life I live every day, and it's wild. So I wanted to just bring it up and just make the call right now that you're about to see movement like you've never seen before.
I think so. I'm seeing more discussion, serious looks than I've seen in a really long time. Like you said, the season was a flop. And I think people that have been holding out for that and saying, all right, I'm just going to buckle down, wait for it to get through, but I think another factor that could be leading to this in some cases is M&A, right? It's been another completely tough season. I've been hearing about more and more M&A activity. I've been hearing some significant ones that are in the pipeline that are going to come out by year end. And so are people moving ahead of thinking that maybe their company is going to get bought? All of it. I completely agree with you. It's more active than I've seen it in a long time.
Yeah, when you've got a market with, especially this market where we thought we were coming into one thing and now we're in another, and now we've gone through the selling season and people have a pretty good, reasonable estimate of what the rest of the year is going to look like in terms of volume. I wonder how much of this recruiting era that we're in right now is product led versus signing bonus led. So in other words, when we're in a healthy purchase market, but not in a refi, that's a great time to go after a loan officer that doesn't have a humongous pipeline and they've got a good, healthy purchase pipeline. You can kind of get a good understanding of what they're doing in the market. They feel less tied down because they don't have 65 refis that are floating or half locked or whatever. But we're seeing a lot of companies make decisions about their product mix and about how much they want to devote effort to retail versus how much to their direct to consumer center and to servicing. And so I wonder if LOs are starting to look at the landscape and wondering, all right, who's going to be supporting the channel I'm in with the right product mix going forward? Because I really
let me answer that. Let me answer that because I'm having the conversations with the people that are leaving. I'm having those conversations with the people that are coming. It's all about the money. It's not about the products at all. Well, for the most part, sans construction to perm, which a few have, and maybe reverse, the majority of these people are just looking for the payday, and the paydays are rich. They're 50 to 100 bips in some instances of the last 12 months production. So you see your pipeline drying up. Redder and MMI and Modex and all these other outlets, they can make you look really pretty. What your pipeline looks like today. The recruiter doesn't really know that. They just can look back and say, oh, over the last 12 months, you've closed $42 million. I'm going to give you $400,000. There's literally someone that I'm talking to who has done $50 million in the last year. And there's a lender offering this person well over 100 basis points. So in the $600,000 range with a 3-year clawback. So,
but the money's going to be the money. My question is how much of the movement is based on just the money, or is it trying to figure out where is this lender going to be in the next 2-3 years? What's their product mix look like now? In other words, is it more intentional than just the highest?
I think it's the first point that you brought up. Where is this lender going to be in 2 to 3 years? That's much more germane to the moment than what is their product mix, because the du jour today is non-QM, and just about every lender has leaned hard and heavy into that. So if you have that, you're good. But yeah, is the lender going to be stable? What's their strategy for, for lasting? But like, I'm looking at people that have just severe atrophy. I'm talking about people that have historically done 60, 80, 100 million that they've had enough. They're selling out now. They're like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to take this check for 300 or 400 grand and just wait in the bunker until things ease up, because Aaron, we're in August now, right? And before you know it, we're going to be in the cold months of November, December, and January. So it's not, it's something we'd probably do.
Yeah. Well, and I will tell you the part of the recruiting conversations that I'm a part of as the COO, as somebody who oversees operations, I'm usually involved in the product type discussions. What does the product look like here? How do we underwrite it? What is the processing? And I will say that the questions that I've been asked while speaking to recruits have become far more detailed, far more sophisticated, far more follow-ups, right? And so, I think to Kobe's point, they are really looking at these things. Now, whether or not it's the check that ultimately makes the difference, I think it probably is, but they are going in being far more intentional about understanding the true workings of the operations of the company. Not, I'm sure, you guys do conventional loans, it's fine, I'm sure you guys will be good, but like very specific, very detailed questions about product types, about property types, things like that. How do you communicate changes? How can I go look up guidelines? That kind of thing. And so I think you're both right.
How about that, Kobe?
I love that we're both right.
I know. That's amazing.
I think we should end the show right now.
No, we're not doing that. We have more to talk about. Let's talk about this guy and the correspondent dinner 2.0.
Oh God.
Shall we?
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'm trying. Trust me. Here we go. Let's see what's going on. I'm trying
to
add this. No. I'm trying to add this to the stage, but for some reason it's not working. So I'll let Nayung play around in the background and tell me when we're ready. But we all know what happened to the first correspondence dinner, right? And so the second one took place on Friday, July 24th. And the president, he really went on and on and on. He hinted at a third term, quote, "Just like my presidency, the second time is always better, and the third time will be better yet." He did say he was kidding, but we know he has said this more seriously in the past. I'm not sure which one of you wanted to talk about this, but clearly you've got some kind of opinion on it. So who was it? Reveal yourself.
Was it me? Are you pointing to me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, first of all, one thing I do want to say is that, and I do want to just give, because your parents weren't at this one, but I remember the first one that your parents did attend, and your dad had played a role in the outgoing White House correspondence president. He played a role in her career. So I just wanted to give a shout out to your dad for that.
Well, I'm not sure. Is she outgoing? It's Ouija. Is she leaving?
Ouija was the outgoing. Yeah. Ouija's the outgoing.
Okay.
Hosting this was, yeah. So just want to give a shout out to your dad. And it's a shame that first one got taken away from him and your mom and you by extension. So just a shout out to him for this, the role that he played. Sorry he couldn't make it to this one, but and maybe it's a good thing that he couldn't make it to this one, because there was an hour and 5-minute debacle where the president took the stage, was seemingly reacting to his own speech in real time, which he had clearly not read before he got on stage. Someone else wrote it for him. As presidents get their speeches written for them, but usually they at least take a glance at them before they get up on a dais and deliver a 65-minute diatribe. And it was a series of ad hominem attacks on his political opponents. It was attacks on members of the press. It was attacks on political opponents. It was one bad joke after another. He had one good line about Bobby Jr., but that was probably about it. It just showed, a real mean side to a man, at an event that is supposed to be lighthearted. He has skipped every one of these up until this last one because he does not like dealing with the press. To me,
he did it for Ouija. I think he did it for her.
Possibly. It was the first one he came to, but to me, it just speaks to his nature, his inability to laugh at himself. I mean, in order to have a good sense of humor and be funny, you have to have the ability to laugh at yourself. He clearly doesn't have that. So I just thought it said a lot about his character. And it was
I think that's a reach, man. It's the correspondence dinner. Everyone's busting everyone's
Oh,
balls.
it was
whatever.
just so bad, though. It was so
Yeah.
cringe. It was like Biden level cringe. It was so bad.
It was horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, let's.
Like-
I think we're ready now. Hold
We got
on
it.
here.
The Queen
Yeah,
got
let's-
it.
Aside, I do think we need term limits in Congress. I think term limits are very important because I see what's happening. The other day, a senator I knew got a text, a great guy, from his wife. And she said, when you get home, I want to have you immediately come up the stairs and make love to me. And he said, I can't do both. You know what? In other words, can't go up the stairs and make love. Does anybody get that? Well, I thought that was actually pretty good. That was actually the only thing I thought was good in this whole frickin' stupid speech that they wrote. That was the only.
I mean, that's
That was
great.
the
He's
best line.
yo,
That was
he's
the
he's
best line.
he's kibitzing. Leave the guy
Yeah.
alone. Whatever. He's 80 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have rather him be in the war room trying to figure out how to end. Talk about a debacle like that. This shouldn't even hit our radar, man. This war is crazy.
Well, the line that got me the most is like, he loves calling the new Iran leader gay. Like, he loves that so much. He thinks it's like such a sick burn. Like, meanwhile, they're over here like generating these like bangers of Lego videos in Iran, like on the daily. And all we have is like, you are gay. It's like so Homer Simpson.
What are they doing? They're Legoing? Are they Legoing my ego? What is
They're
this?
Lego.
I've not seen
They're
any.
like,
They're
what?
creating AI videos based on Lego characters to
Yeah.
to troll the United States, and they're pretty good.
Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, Trump.
I've not seen
Yeah.
any of it.
I will
me
send you
some.
them.
Send me some. You want to pull one up on your phone and play it for the audience? Go ahead. You can do that.
Do you have
Why
any
don't you
AI
set your phone?
videos on your phone?
No, that's all right.
I
She'll
have
pull
a few AI videos on my phone. Let me pull this up.
She'll pull it up, Kobe, while you and I, fill some time here, buddy.
Do you want me to send it to Nagan?
We can fill some time.
No,
you
just
know,
hold it up. We'll improvise. This is what this show is all about, right? We can't always
right.
be scripted.
This is what we
We'll
call
be,
a rub.
we'll be like Trump at the correspondence dinner.
Ready?
Yeah, sure.
You thought you would win. Now look at the mess that your country is in. Look at it. Your general's crying, your plan was a bust. The promises made are now turning to dust. Marco Rubio was sweating, he's grilled on the floor. They asked for the billions you wasted on war. You laugh from day one, you keep capping a lot. But look at the straight, yeah, we got it on lock. Lock down. You're begging for mercy, you're begging for peace. While telling your media Iran wants to cease. You sure? You're losing the straight, you're losing the state. And now the whole public is drowning in hate. You told, stop talking about Epstein. Now listen to the crowd. Epstein, Epstein, Epstein.
Wow. All right.
by the way, that was actually the original No Surrender theme song.
It was.
Man, they completely trolled him there. I tell you what I'd like
I
to
was
see.
I was like, do we really need 9 Epsteins at the end of it? And then we decided to start something else.
Then we just went with a instead.
Yeah,
Are we
went with
running
the
out of?
explosion.
Are we running out of munitions? Is that true?
Yes.
What does that even mean? Like, I hear that and I'm like, well, does that mean we have enough to go for 6 more months, a year? Can we buy some from someone else? What is going on?
I mean, I'm sure Kobe, I'm not sure what Kobe has to say, but everything I said, one is we've given so much to Ukraine. We were already depleted. And we, like, even at the beginning of the war, people were warning that we were running low on bombs, interceptors especially. And so really that's kind of why we've stopped the most recent bombing campaign, is because we were running very, very low on our stock. We can only produce so many and we're not keeping up.
Yeah, the apparently the next phase of the battle is going to include toilet paper and water balloons, and it's going to be. And we'll see how that
You're
goes.
trying to run on toilet paper again. Now you're bringing me back to Fauci.
He's going to TP one of their bridges if they don't sign the
He's going to use
non-proliferation
all the
agreement.
TP to soak up all their desalinated water.
I mean, it's better to laugh than to cry, but I'll tell you what, I'm closer to crying than I am laughing at this right now.
Yeah,
it's true.
This is not a laughing matter, man. It is very, very serious, and it's so unnecessary, and it is terrible for our country and terrible for our industry. It's just bad in so many ways, man. And we were just at the tip of turning the corner, just the tip.
Why do you do this to me?
I don't know. I just can't.
You know how I feel about just the tip.
I just keep going back to the same holes. I don't know. It's just, I just dig myself in the hole, and there you are.
This is what we do.
He can't
This is
pull
what we
out.
do.
He just
No.
can't pull out.
I can't. I just keep going right back there. It's unbelievable. I can't. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, I do know what to say, and it feels so powerless. It's just crazy what's going on. I mean, this has gone on too long, too far. Say what you have to say. Get out of there, man. Like,
correct. Well, that's the thing is, like, who's the adult in the room? It's not Pete Hegseth, right? For sure.
I think it's JD Vance.
When he's in the room, or when he's actually being
well, I
to.
think Rubio's in front of him at this
point. I'm not sure Vance has a real seat at the table with this, because Vance has come out in a couple of different kind of hinted ways, because Vance has his own ambitions politically. So Vance has kind of signaled that he's not for this war, he's not for this action, that he might have handled it a little bit differently. So I'm not sure Vance is being listened to at the moment. I'm not sure who's being listened to, but I can tell you one thing. We've got an election coming up in November. The MAGA tide is turning in terms of their approval rating. Americans have signaled that they don't want this war to continue. I know Paul Heinman today or yesterday afternoon sent me a message about how if Warsh continues on the path that he's on, he's going to get a spanking from the president. And my response to him was, the president's got bigger fish to fry. He's got a midterm coming up with a very unpopular war happening that he never wanted to get into in the first place. So I think that the adult in the room is whatever date that election is, November 5th, November 6th. That's the adult in the room. And
so we're the adult in the room. You're saying we can change the
American people. The American people are the adult in the room.
Yeah, but what can we do? Like the House gets. I got it. Great. So the House ends up being blue. Cool. What happens then?
I think, well,
gridlock.
Yeah. Some gridlock happens, but I think Trump, ultimately has. Yeah, well, maybe, but I think.
How does any of that help? How does any of that help the economy and our business?
If we vote out the people that didn't stop Trump from the war, I think the pressure is on him. He does have a responsibility. He is not only the president of the United States, he's also the leader of the Republican Party. And there is a responsibility for him to see Republicans get elected. He is out there campaigning for them. And if we know one thing about Donald Trump, it's that he takes his pride and his reputation very seriously. And I think he's going to want to keep those intact. He also enjoys the role of being a kingmaker. So I think he's going to want to have a say in how the 2028 elections go and beyond. And in order for him to do that, he has to keep his credibility with his own people. And if he can't deliver elections to his own people, that's going to take away a lot of his power and all of the Trump aura that goes along with it. So I think he's got a vested interest in keeping the members of his party happy, and that will hopefully translate.
Well, he has got to get us out of this before November. If we're still dealing with this back and forth on off volatility in November, like, it's bad now. Think about what it's going to be like then, right? And so, like, we need to be sending messages to our current elected officials that this is not okay, that this is absolutely got to stop. And we can't keep supporting that. And the problem is that Trump is so absolutely volatile himself. He believes one thing and then another thing, and who knows what he actually believes. Like, I have a hard time seeing any sort of path out of this.
Yeah. Well, I could tell you when the money starts to dissipate, when the stock market goes down 1,200 points in a day, I think that catches his attention. He likes to be the president that everyone gets rich with. Yeah, and if his pocket gets hurt, if everyone else's pockets get hurt, I think that would stop him in his tracks more than even a soldier's death.
1,000%.
As sad as that sounds.
They reduced the death toll. Those 4 soldiers who died in Jordan last week, they pushed the death count up to 18. On Friday or something, they actually brought the death toll back down to 14 and said they didn't count because they died after the MOU. He doesn't care.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's wild. I mean, but the Democratic Party, like the progressives, there's some real freaks that are showing up now. Are they gonna dilute the party? Like, if you're hoping that Democrats just take over, Kobe, if you've got 2 different factions set up, under one party, how is that good? I've been wanting to ask you this off, in our conversations, but we haven't talked that much lately. So can you give me an opinion on that?
Well, first of all, I'm sorry we haven't talked that much lately. We'll have to
You've been moving. You've been moving. You've been very busy. You've got a new life in Nevada now.
But
so I'm good with it.
You guys
Are you asking if having are you talking about the House and the Senate being divided?
I'm just talking about I'm just talking about the Democrats' hope to take over the White House.
Yeah.
What's the Cortez? Like, she's the leader now. I don't even know. Mondami. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
It seems like the party is being infiltrated right now by people that are not 100% Democratic like. So that seems to me like it's almost like having an independent in the Democratic Party, a wave of them, and that's going to dilute the votes, and it's going to play in the favor of the Republicans. That's what I think. I'm a novice, much more than you, but tell me if I'm somewhere near the mark.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, look, we've seen a swinging of the pendulum, and to the point where New York City recently elected an overtly socialist mayor, and I've been doing some posts. The post that Aaron was commenting on yesterday around the grocery store idea, and before that, I was talking about his pet-a-terre tax on the 1,500 units that were valued at more than $5 million. And we're seeing fringe candidates emerge in Michigan. We've had fringe candidates in the Northeast as well.
Maine.
This is what happens when you have fringe politicians. They emerge on both sides and they outflank each other in primaries. And this is why we've come to where we've come to today, where we no longer have the Ted Kennedy and the John McCains who are across the aisle yet are still friends and can introduce legislation together. We are so polarized as a nation right now that it's hard to envision who can lead us and who can unite us. And when the real elections are happening in the primaries and not in the general election, and it's just a matter of who's doing a good job of outflanking somebody from the right or from the left, we're left with a very divided House, a very divided Senate, and a president that doesn't seem to find any reason to unite the people that voted for him, whether they came out on election day for him or not. And it's a really sad state of affairs where we are in this country right now. So do I want a blue wave? Not necessarily. I want sane politicians back. I want the people that can actually reach across the aisle and work together and accomplish things. I don't think we're anywhere near that today. So I don't consider myself a Democrat any more than I consider myself a Republican. I consider myself just to be an independent right now who's looking for some sanity.
Well, I think that the big wild card coming into this election is going to be people like me, right? I'm a libertarian. I have voted Republican most of my life. I've never pulled the handle for a Democrat, but Trump came into power this time with a lot of people like me. He built a coalition who were anti-war, who were pro-Doge, all of that, and he's completely abandoned all of us and gone in the complete opposite direction of everything he said. But I'm not going to turn around and go vote Democrat now. Absolutely not. I'm going to sit out, right? And so to me, I think the turnout is going to be the big story of this election, because Trump is going to have people that he thinks are Republicans that are not, but we're also not going Democrat. We're just going to be like, we're just frustrated and we're done with it. And we feel like we don't have any representation. And so to me, this is going to be all about the bases that come out.
Yeah, I think even the hardcore MAGA voters are starting to crack and feel like they don't have the guy that they wanted in the White House, because this is not the agenda they voted for, to Aaron's point. So, we're in a bad place. We're in a bad place with the Iran war. We're in an even worse place with our elected officials.
Well, let's get
But
rude.
you two look so handsome.
Let's get rude for a minute. Can we, Aaron? Do you mind if we get rude?
I would love to get
Only
rude.
if you're talking about Tim Rude.
Of course. Who else?
Right. I don't know.
We love Tim Rude. Our inside the Beltway Fots.
Far inside. He's so far inside the Beltway.
Aaron, are you going to take us through some kind of an exercise right now, or have we taken up too much time? Let's first just talk about Tim's his daily newsletter, which I know we're all addicted to.
Yes. So, I was thinking about a little game called Raw Dogging the Daily Dose, where we just pick some random stories from Tim's column or Tim's posts. Every day he posts his daily dose, which is really just like a great compilation of all of the stories that have gone on in any given day. You can see what's going on in the mortgage market, in the political landscape, what's going on in the commercial markets. And so, Greg, you tell me, we're kind of at time on our recording, but I am happy to pull out a couple stories, and we can jawbone for a couple minutes if we want.
We can raw dog jawbone.
Love a good raw dog jawbone.
No problem.
All right. All right. So let's see. Give me just 2 seconds. I pull this up.
What's that noise in the background? Does someone have like a child or a
Whose
dog in their
is
place?
I'm pretty sure that's my kid who's
Got
on
it.
the other side of the house.
So
Can't wait for school to start August 10th. Very excited.
not that you're
Wow,
counting.
that's so early. August 10th?
August 10th, yeah.
When did they
believe
get
me,
out?
it's not early enough.
Wasn't she only been back from camp for a week?
Yeah, it's time. It's time to go to school.
Wow.
Dang. Jordy, get a job. Open a lemonade stand.
Do you guys know Lindsay Meyer?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
She announced today that she's leaving the mortgage business, or yesterday. See, now I fell
is
for
that?
it too. Lindsay Meyer.
What'd you fall for?
I fell for the yesterday thing.
Oh. Why is she
See-
leaving the mortgage business?
She's doing business development now at Barrel Maker Printing. So she's a visionary and a great marketer and brand person. So we wish Lindsay well. I just wanted to squeeze that in.
Yeah,
Well,
Chicago gal. Yep.
Best
wanted to-
wishes.
I wanted to squeeze that in while we raw dog jawbone.
All right.
Aaron-
Well, let's get it in. Let's get it in.
Aaron,
All
have
right,
you
so-
found what you're looking for?
I have found, well, in terms of topics, yes, I have.
Yes, okay,
Everything
got
else, I'm like you two.
You're still
I
looking.
still haven't found what I'm looking for.
I
Yeah.
understand. You
All right.
you two.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
Great show at the pier, by the way. So FHA came out with their new partial claim. This may seem like some boring administrative type deal, but in Tuesday's episode of Daily Dose, Tim talks about the new FHA proposal to basically eliminate partial claims as a second lien. Why this is important, I think personally for FHA lending, is because right now partial claims go on as a second lien. And there are implications on that where you have to do a judicial foreclosure, which doesn't work in judicial states. This makes foreclosing on FHA loans much harder and much more complicated and much more expensive. And this is going to make servicing FHA loans much better. So I applaud the FHA in making this recommendation. I believe they have a comment period open. And so I think that's something as an industry we need to go and support.
I'll take your word for it. Kobe. This is going well so far. Good.
I vote yes. Next.
Can you pick something a little more difficult and obscure, please?
Okay. Here's one for Kobe. Here's one for Kobe from yesterday's. The country built more housing than people last year. Last year, the housing stock grew by 1.5 million units, enough to house 3.47 million people, but population growth was just 757,000. Kobe, your thoughts?
I mean, population growth in terms of what? New births and immigration? Is that the tally?
Just net new population. Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, we have a shortage that's there today. I'm not really worried about the people born today that, according to your numbers, are not going to be ready to buy a home until at least they're 32. So I think that those are a conflation of two numbers that aren't necessarily relevant to one another. We know the shortage that we have today versus the home buying population that's out there in certain markets, of course. So to me, like those are just two numbers thrown together to create a story.
We don't have a shortage. Slow it down, man. Stop the printing presses. We don't need more homes. We need better policy.
There you go.
Yeah.
All
Anyway.
right.
Yeah, those are a lot of things.
This was great. I love this debut. We're going to now retire it. We'll never do this again. And we're also going to look for the.
To be fair, when I proposed this, it was Greg's going to pick some topics out of a jar. So
I don't remember that.
Well, he's busy. I've been moving. But I do want to say, Aaron, that you look lovely today. I love the outfit.
I've noticed that too. You're having this is the best your hair has ever looked.
I made it darker on Monday, so thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it looks phenomenal. You have a new hairstylist. Obviously, you're new to Carolina.
Yeah, I have a new girl here. She did it a couple weeks ago, and yesterday I went back, or not yesterday, Monday I went back to get it done, and I was like, go darker, and I'm very pleased with the product. So thank you for noticing. You guys are real gems, and I think you're both looking super handsome today.
Well, thank you very much. You know what's interesting about me is the further I go away, the better I look. Watch. How good
Damn, look at that.
Not true.
How good I look. Have
Greg,
I ever looked this good?
Is your fly down?
No, I'm wearing sweatpants. I don't have a fly. What are you talking about?
Sweat.
Oh, he's got the gray sweats on.
I'm a fly guy. Did I just flash some belly?
You did. You gave us a
So
naval
hot.
flash.
So
The first
hot.
ever.
Did I just show you my one pack?
Excuse me. I'm gonna need to be alone for a minute.
She's gonna go to her barf bag. She wishes she was on a. She wishes she was
slid
on a
off like that
plane.
since episode 1.
Yeah, she wishes she was on a plane so she could just reach for that bag and just stick her face right in and barf.
I love you guys.
All right. Well, this was great. I'm not sure if it's Wednesday or
This was
Thursday, but what
great.
the hell? This was the 12th edition
Nobody
of No Surrender.
knows.
We're in the bag. We're all wearing black. We'll see what happens next week on No Surrender. So long.
No surrender on the show. We go toe to toe. What's fair? What fails? Who gets the own?